There we go. Yes, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our PA Forum Lunch and Learn. For those of you that haven't met me before, my name's Dan, and I'm the founder of PA Forum. We are a community of executive assistants. Oh, hang on one sec. I'm just going to press mute. Bear with me one sec. Yeah, so we are a community for PAs, EAs, office managers, business support professionals, virtual assistants. We are primarily Midlands based, but we offer a lot of online events throughout the week, so that we are accessible to many other people. And last year I was at the UK National VA Conference, and I met Adam and Rick from Kirmada with our wonderful Mel. And as a business consultant, I could be working with perhaps 4 or 5 different clients, and I do a lot of time blocking. So, for example, I could be working today with one particular client, tomorrow I could be working with another client, and I get distracted very easily, as you can probably imagine for those of you that know me and know me well. So what Kirmada does is it enables you to be able to have different workflows for different clients, which works really well from a self-employed point of view, and that can also be the same for virtual assistants. For those of you that are employed, it can be great if you're working with 3 or 4, 5 different directors, different partners who perhaps it can be great for project management, for example. I'm not going to take away from Adam's light because he's here to shine a light on Kirmada today, but I just wanted to warm up and give you a bit of an intro as to how I would personally use Kirmada, for example. So, Adam, welcome to our community. Thank you for coming on Friday. Thank you for sponsoring our Midlands VA conference earlier this year. It's been wonderful to work with you. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks. I'm still recovering from Friday as well. That was a cracking night. But I think we got there, and it was hot, wasn't it? It was. It
I
was.
mean, yeah. Pick the hottest day of the year to, and also it is one of those times when you lads and we're like, oh God, we've got to wear a 3-piece suit, and it's that hot. It's like 30. I think it ended up being 34, 35 or something in the end.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and
yeah,
the
it
air-
was.
the aircon broke on my car driving up there as well. So
Oh
Rick and
God,
I
I thought you
were.
were going to say the aircon broke at the venue then. Oh my God, no. I was like, no. Oh, bless you. Windows down all the way to bed. So whereabouts are you based, Adam?
So we're down in Chipping Norton, so about 20 miles outside of Oxford, so northwest of Oxford.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about, why is it that how did you get into Kamada? How did Kamada get started?
Yeah,
What's your background?
Kirmada was born during lockdown as a project because I ran a small web design agency. And what we found was, like a lot of people who are work in fractional businesses or are VAs, EAs, or freelance, is you end up with lots and lots of things open on your screen at any one time, normally in a web browser while you're trying to manage all sorts of different projects. And I was finding that trying to work with other people, contractors and what have you, I was ending up with a mess all over the place, and I wanted a way of just having everything really well organized on my screen so that I knew exactly what I was working on. Everything was always logged into the right things. Everything was clear and focused and easy. And Rick and I, who's Rick's on this call, is my co-founder. We were talking about why there isn't anything like this on the market that would actually just organize a modern workflow. And so we set about designing it, and we managed to secure some funding. Lots of people thought it was a great idea, and took us a few years of development. And here we are now with around about 1,000 users.
Fantastic. And have you found that it is business support professionals that are mostly using it? Is it kind of really geared towards that community?
It is. It's we found that a sweet spot is admin professionals, people, business managers, EAs, PAs, VAs, um, and the reason that's so is because they often really need clear-cut categories for their workflow. So, if they're working with 5 different board members, being able to swap between those 5 different responsibilities at a click is really, really attractive to them, because they can be concentrating on exactly the project or the person that they've got in mind and nothing else.
We're doing an event on the 31st of July, and it's for a lot of people that work within the charity and the government sector. And we find that some of the PAs that work in those sectors particularly are doing board meetings for various different committees, lots of different, managing different communication channels between lots of different volunteers, for example, or board members, or the chair, CEO, etc. So I could imagine that would be really, really helpful for people that are working within those sectors as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it really is anything where you want to concentrate on a specific subject, and that subject could be a person, somebody's workflow. It could be a project, or it could, if you're a VA, it could be a client, or it could be something as different as, your own social media, or anything where the top level of the subject is clearly defined from anything else. And in the demo, I'll show you exactly what that means.
Amazing. Thank you, Adam. Really appreciate it. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind giving us a show, that would be fantastic, if that's all
Love
right,
to.
please.
Yeah, let me just share my screen, and let me know if you can all see that. Okay.
Yeah, all good.
All right, cool. So what we've got here is I've set this up as somebody who is perhaps an EA or a PA in a company. And what you're looking at here is, if you can imagine, you quite possibly already organize things through things like Google profiles or what have you. And so you'll know that you'd be doing that in order to be able to move between, say, John CFO, Maria CFO, CEO, etc. In Kirmada, these workspaces are the equivalent of a profile, but they're a profile on steroids. So what happens is, every time you've got something that you need to be that you need to manage, you create a workspace for it. And creating a workspace is really easy. I'll take you through that in a minute. But to start with, we've got these workspaces pre-set up for the business that I'm managing today. And so I've set up one for John, who's the CFO, one for Maria, who's the CEO, and Kim, the CTO, etc. And I can also set up other workspaces for absolutely anything else I want. So if I've got an awful lot of responsibilities for event management, then I may as well have a workspace for that with all of my stuff, all of my contacts in there. Same with travel or whatever else. So you create a workspace for absolutely anything you need. And when you go into a workspace, you simply click on it. And as you can see, what you've opened up here is a web browser. Across the top, we've got the tabs open that you'd have in any web browser. The difference with this web browser is the fact that this is dedicated to John CFO. There's nothing else in here for anybody else. So if I'm logged into his email, I'm always logged into his email. If I'm logged into his calendars or into his CRM or whatever it is, all of those things are logged in just for him. And if I want to move to manage somebody else, maybe I want to go and I need to do something for Maria, I click on her workspace, and now you can see the web browser has completely changed across the top. I'm logged into all of her stuff. I'm logged into her Slack conversations. I'm logged into her inbox, her calendars, whatever it is that I need to manage my workload for her. It's all here. And you can see down the side here, I've pinned, these are called stickies. So every time if there are things for Maria that I need to access quite often, for example, her inboxes, her calendars, whatever it is, I can log into those things and then stick them down the left-hand side. So that we call them stickies. And to do that, you just literally right-click on a tab, and the second option down is Save to Stickies. And you click on that, and it adds that URL wherever you are to the left-hand side. So once you've done that for all of the people that you're working for, then all of their stuff is always available down the left-hand side, and getting to them is as simple as clicking on them, and then all of a sudden it's what they've got, what you need to manage for them is down the left-hand side. Now, on its own, that's what we originally designed Kirmada to do, was to be this really easy way of flipping between workloads, where everything is always remembers where you were the last time you were there. There's no having to faff around trying to remember where you're picking off from. But because quite a few of the people that we work with are fractional, so you've got fractional EAs, PAs, and VAs who work on this system, and it's quite important for a lot of people, particularly if you're charging by the hour or if you're hiring people who charge by the hour. It's quite important to be able to track time that you spend inside these workspaces. So I don't know if you've noticed, but across the top right hand side of the screen here, a clock is ticking, and the reason that clock is ticking is because Kirmada knows that I'm in John's workspace. So it started a timesheet for him. If I go over to Maria, then the clock has changed to 6 minutes, and that's how long I've spent in her workspace today. And if I go to Kim, etc., every time I move between a workspace, Kirmada knows to stop a timesheet and start a timesheet and record the time that I'm spending. And even if you're employed, this can become really important because sometimes you can get involved on a project for one of the people that you're working for, and that project is something that you should be recording time for. And when you go into the workspace, you can instantly change the task for what you're doing. So you can say that I'm now working on Project Go, and it's now recording the time that I'm spending in this project against Project Go. So it's a really good way. Sorry, Daniel.
Sorry, Adam. I was just going to say, do you mind if I add to that just while you're on this particular topic? Because it's something that comes up so much at the moment, is that a lot of PAs or EAs are finding, particularly if you're employed, are finding it difficult to it's about how tangible and measurable a lot of the tasks and things are that we're doing, and how, particularly with AI at the moment, about how long it takes us to do something. And actually in performance reviews, for example, that can be really good, because sometimes if you've got various different personalities that you're working for and somebody's vying for your attention a little bit more than somebody else's, for example, it's a great way to show, well, the reason I can't do that is because this is consuming so much of my time at the moment, and this is why. And I can show you, because we were talking about this at conference on Friday last week. So I think that's such a great tool to have, because it's very difficult for, particularly if we're employed, to track time and how much it works, how much we're actually working on a specific project or a specific piece of work that's consuming quite a lot of our working time.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite often people will throw down a time and motion study on you and say, right, you've now got to account for everything you're doing. And it's quite nice if you're working in Kirmada, because it already accounts for everything you're doing. And I'll show you that now, actually. If you on each one of these workspace cards, there's a clock icon, which is the show timers section. And when you click on this, it's going to show you what you've done in this month or previous months or whatever period you choose. With this, it's for John CFO. So I can see how many hours I've worked each day this month for John, and I can see which categories of work I've done for him. So I can see that, phone calls have accounted for, a little bit of the time, what's taken a lot of time. General work hasn't. Project Go has taken a lot of time. So you can see which days you're working on Project Go. And so you get a really good idea of exactly how much time you spent with them. If you're employed, the cost and billable stuff might not be so important to you. But if you're fractional, it's very important to you to know that in here you can set up cost prices and billable prices. Cost price is designed for if you're bringing other people into this team, how much you're paying them. The billable is how much you're charging the client, and then the P&L is the balance of that. And we'll go into teams in a second, but I wanted to just point out the fact that it's all recorded and it's all very flexible. So if you don't need to record financial information, it's absolutely fine. It will just record time. If you do need to record financial information, though, it's got you covered automatically. It just does it for you. And you can get a summary overview on this screen, but you can also see a very detailed view of exactly everything that's happened during the month here. So this is every time I've gone into John's workspace and exactly what I did. And from here, I can obviously analyze what I've been doing, but I can add new entries. So if there's something that wasn't caught on here, maybe I don't know, I went to and had lunch with him somewhere, I can add that afterwards. I can edit any of these entries, so none of it's set in stone. If anything needs to be changed, it can be changed, and I can delete entries out of this as well. So it's all very, very flexible, and there's lots of different views of the data that you can take, and including that you can export all of the data as well, so onto a spreadsheet. And when you do that, you get a very comprehensive report of everything that's happened from every different angle. So you can see, exactly how much time you've spent per person, per client, or per workspace, how much time you spent per project, etc. Right down to how much different people in the team have spent with you as well. Now, obviously, there are various different things that become important when you've got a workspace. And time management being one of them, but also calendar management becomes quite an important thing. And we designed this calendar to be quite a task orientated calendar, but also a social media calendar. So what you're seeing on here at the moment is just tasks that are being set up. So this acts like any other calendar, where you can add tasks to it. You can set start times and end times. It'll send out reminders. You can assign other people to the tasks as well, so that they'll get reminders. And then every time you press that you've started a task in here, then it goes into the timesheet automatically for you, so you can record the time that you're spending on that project. But quite interestingly, for quite a lot of people, you will find that you need to manage social media, not necessarily for the company itself if you're working in a large company, but perhaps you look after somebody's LinkedIn profile for them, or their Instagram, or even your own. Or if you're a VA, then you may be looking after social media for everyone. And you can set up social media channels for every single workspace you've got. So in every single workspace, you can connect it to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And we've got YouTube, TikTok, and possibly Pinterest coming. And you're able to then just say that you want to schedule a post. So you want to create a post in Facebook, for example. We give it a title. I'll just put in some random text from another website. And then you can attach media to it. So I can find, what am I looking for here? PA Awards. Let's go with that. Put a nice picture of Rick, my business partner, in there. You might recognize these images, Daniel, the ones you put out yesterday. So attach that, and then I can preview how this is going to look on Instagram or on Facebook, just to make sure that I'm happy with what the post is going to look like. And then I can opt to publish that right now. It'll go straight onto Facebook. I can schedule it for a specific date in the future. So I can say that I want to post this tomorrow. If it's evergreen content, I can repeat that post every week, month, whatever I want to do, until further notice, or put a time limit on it. And I can also add cues if you want consistent scheduled posts on LinkedIn, for example, like Monday motivation. You can create a queue to go at 9 o'clock every Monday morning and just add posts to it. So you save your posts to that queue for Monday motivation, and then so you put 20 posts in there, and then for the next 20 weeks it'll just post the next one. So you can
sorry to interrupt you, Adam. I just wanted to ask, the calendar section, does that interact with Microsoft and Google? So can you import what's already in the calendar? And if you put a calendar, if you put something in the calendar here, does that go onto I'm just trying to see how the connectivity works within the packages that they might have within businesses, for example.
Yeah, sure. At the moment, it's standalone. We're working on syncing with Outlook and Google Calendars at the moment. So that's a project that we're hoping to deliver in the next couple of months. And the way that's going to work is that you can basically attach this calendar to, say, your Outlook calendar, and it will sync between the two. So they'll be identical, but with the added benefit that if you access it within Kirmada, then it will have the social media posts on there as well. But anything that you then add into this calendar would appear on the Outlook calendar, and vice versa. And you can put Gmail on that as well. Sorry, G calendar.
So, for example, where you've created the workflows where there's CFO, CEO, COO, for example, in that area, then you would go into the web version of Microsoft Outlook, log in to their emails via their credentials. So
Yeah,
then that's showing then in that specific area. So you've got their inbox,
yeah.
and then you've got the separate inbox then for the CEO, you've got the separate inbox for the CTO, and the same with Google.
Exactly. So on this one, I've gone into John's workspace again, and I've got his emails open here. So I'm in his Outlook. There's nothing here because it's a demo one, but I'm in his Outlook here. If I pop over to Maria, and I haven't got Outlook on here, but I can now log into a different Outlook and keep that logged in. So I can always access their individual inboxes and their individual calendars from this web browser and stick them as stickies down the left hand side so that I've got instant access to them as well. So anything that you can currently do in any other web browser, you can just do those things in here, whether it's Slack conversations, you can even have WhatsApp in here, so that you've always got the right conversation open. Yeah, so basically, but it just keeps it linked to one person.
I love that. I love the fact that you can have the WhatsApp in that particular area as well. Exactly what you said. So you are making sure you're WhatsApping the right person.
Yeah, it's happened actually. One of our clients came to us this year because they had accidentally sent out an email to the wrong person from the wrong client, and it was a competitor. And so there was this accidental massive breach of confidentiality, and they came to us in a bit of a panic, and they said, will this allow us to know exactly who we're working for at any given time? And I said, yeah, their name's up there, and that's why you're able to color code these with different colors, so that this guy is set in blue, this one's red, and so you've got a visual indication of which workspace you're in as soon as you go into the workspace, just to sort of really help keep that keep that conflict obvious to you. So I'm just going to go back into this calendar briefly. If you are managing social media for somebody, or even for yourself, you have an inbox facility here as well. So incoming messages, I don't want to unlink any accounts. So incoming messages that you've got on, say, Facebook and Instagram will appear here, and you can just select the conversations and reply to them all in one place. So you don't have to keep logging into all the different accounts to see who's commented and reply to them. It all comes in here. Unfortunately, LinkedIn have just banned that, so that they force you to go into LinkedIn to do it. But with Facebook and Instagram, you can do it. And when we add YouTube and TikTok, etc., all of the comments will be manageable from there as well. You would have also briefly seen, as I was attaching some media to that post, that there's online file storage as well. So every time you create a workspace, it creates a folder in the cloud for you at the same time. So when I click on John's workspace, I can see the folders that I've created for him, and I can upload anything that I need to keep centrally stored for John, and anything that I need for Maria and Kim, etc. And this isn't designed to be a replacement for OneDrive or Dropbox or Google Drive. This is designed as a place to keep all of your most essential files for that topic. So with a client, it could be things like their brand guidelines, their logos, authorized images, etc. With a person, it could be some of the documents that you reference about, I don't know, their let me think, their anniversaries, their birthdays, their travel information, etc., their passport photos, driving licenses, things that you need to get hold of on a regular basis and know where they are absolutely stored and safe. You can keep them all underneath the workspace, and that way, there's no danger of them sort of being slipped off somewhere else and you're hunting through various different places for them. So every time you create a workspace, you get a new folder in the cloud, and you can then, with these things, you can upload anything that you want to them. Just images are quite a popular one. And if they are images, so for example, if we get Rick here and we can do simple edits in on the drive directly without having to download it. So, if I wanted to crop this for Instagram landscape, I can easily do that and then, save it out as a different file. So there's simple file editing in here, and all the other documents and stuff you can preview in here to see exactly what they are. So, it's a great, really convenient place to store everything. And where this sort of all comes around full circle is that all of these workspaces can be shared. So quite often you will be working in teams of people, and they'll have different needs to be in John's workspace or in the event management workspace or whatever. But if, for example, we choose event management, there will be contractors quite often that you need to work with in event management, copywriters, whoever it is. And all you need to do to share this is say that you're going to add a team, and then you can invite them by email address. So I'll just invite myself, and actually I'll invite Rick as well. So I'm going to invite 2 people. I'm going to say I can opt to give a message, join the team. I can optionally share passwords with them. So anything that I've logged into in this workspace. So if I've logged into, for example, the exhibitor section of a venue or a show or whatever, and I want them to have access to it, then I can give them access to it by saying share passwords. But that gives them access to my accounts if I do that. So you'd need to be quite careful with it. But it's very convenient if, for example, if you are using accounts online that you want other people to be using as well, maybe a Gmail or something, then you can give them access to it that way. And then you send the invitation. The invitation goes out. When they accept the invitation, then the workspace will appear on their screen like it is on here. And let's pretend that we've shared John's. What they'll see is, well, first of all, what they won't see is the tabs that you've got open across the top, and you won't see theirs because that would just become really messy really quickly. But they see everything that you've stuck down the left-hand side. So in terms of onboarding somebody, so, if you're bringing in an associate or a contractor to work on something, you can put all of the resources that they're going to need down the left-hand side, optionally pre-log them in so that the username and password fields are logged in when they get there. And that means that all of the stuff that they need, they've instantly got down the left-hand side. And they also get access to the file storage. So you can put all of the files that they need to access in there. They get access to the calendars, they get access to social media, etc. And you can manage all of that. So you can say you don't want them to have access to the calendars, or you want them to only have read access to the files, perhaps, so they can't modify anything. And you can control all of those things by from the team's control panel. So you have full control over what they get to see. And when they're working, all of the work that they will do will go down onto your timesheet. So even if you haven't put things in here like what their cost prices and billables, you'll be able to see what times that they're spending here. It'll show you what projects they've worked on. If you have put a cost price on them, what you're paying them, then you'll be able to see the cost price here. If you are billing them out at a different rate, then you can put that here as well. But that means that come the end of the month, you'll be able to see exactly what they're going to invoice you. So if you've put their cost price down at £30 an hour and they've done 10 hours, you know exactly what your invoice is going to be. And more to the point, so do they can see what they're supposed to invoice you, but they can't see any other financial information. So if you have put a retainer on this client or a budget, if there are other people involved and they're on different rates, team members can't see any of that. The only thing they can see is how much they're going to need to invoice you if you opt to let them see that. And the other thing they can see once you've put in a budget for them is the time remaining that they have on that project. So you have the option there of saying if you only want somebody to work for you 10 hours a month or 20 hours a month, then you can put their budget down as 10 hours, and it will show you exactly how much time they've got, or they'll be able to see how much time they've got remaining to work on that client for you. So it's a really easy way of being able to onboard people, but obviously just as critically is offboarding people. Once you've no longer working with somebody, or they should no longer have access to the project, you just remove them from the team. You have a Teams control panel button here. All of your teams will show up here, and you can manage those people from in here, remove them from the team. At the moment, you can see it's just myself and Rick are both invited. And this is where I can also give people different permissions for the different areas. But offboarding somebody from a GDPR perspective is critically important, because you offboard them, they no longer see the workspace at all. They no longer got access to any of the resources. They're no longer got access to anything. So there's no hangover left over as there would be in a normal web browser or in a Chrome profile. You know that you have done what you can to limit what they can see. And kind of in a nutshell, that is what Kirmada does. So it's designed to be this really simple way of segregating your different workflows and being able to swap between them really, really easily, and have full control over the finances if you want to, have full control over resources, onboarding and offboarding team members really easily. Oh, and I did say, sorry, that the one thing is, how easy is it to create a workspace? We often get asked that, is it really complicated? And the answer is no, it's not complicated. You click add a workspace. The only thing, well, you don't actually have to put anything in here. If you just click create a workspace, it will create it as an unnamed workspace. But let's say I wanted to create a workspace for the PA forum. I do that. I can optionally put in a URL. All the URL will try and do is pick up a logo from the website. It'll automatically for you. But I can also say I want to select a picture to go on there. I've got a nice little profile of Daniel from Friday night. You can then pull in profiles from Chrome or Firefox or whatever you want to do to be inside the workspace, and then that's it. Your workspace is now set up, and you go in there and you're in a completely fresh space. So you can literally start working here. You don't have to set anything else up. Even if there are billables that you want to add later, you can just do that later. You don't have to do everything up front. Just get in there, start working, and it's doing everything for you. So it's really, really easy to set up workspaces, and you can have as many workspaces as you like. So you're not limited to just having it for the people that you're working for. You can have it for all of your internal admin. I when I moved house last year, I had a workspace for all the resources I need for that, the solicitors, the estate agents, etc. All of that was in a workspace, and then I just archived it when I was no longer needed it. So create workspaces for absolutely anything you need, and if you no longer need them, throw them away. It's that simple. So that, in a nutshell, Daniel, is Kirmada.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that. I think just thinking about, it's interesting because I'm thinking about this from legal firms. So obviously many of their lawyers are billable, for example, but it's interesting how the PAs can also become billable for those people. I think it's a really interesting system.
Actually, interesting you should say that. In the edit workspace part here, there is a thing for the legal profession, because here is where you can set your billing increments, and normally it's set to 1 minute, and it will charge that 1/60th of an hour right at the beginning of the minute. But lawyers like to do 6 minutes, and that means that every time a 6-minute increment starts, it's a new billing period, and that means you can work for multiple clients in the same 6 minutes and bill them all for the same 6 minutes. And it sounds unethical, it is, but that's how lawyers work. And so law firms love that.
I've never worked for a law firm, but I will remember that now from now on, Adam. Thank you. No, and we've got so someone's put in a chat, is there an option to act as a CRM for marketing and newsletter subscriptions, etc.?
The answer to that is no. There are plans to have a mini CRM built into this, but at the moment, the way you'd use your CRM is you'd just go to HubSpot or to Monday.com or whatever it is as a tab, as you do now in your normal workspace, in your normal workflow, and then add it as a sticky down the left-hand side. So I've always got access to my CRM down the left-hand side. I mean, that's one of the things that's quite important to remember is anything that you currently do in a web browser for your clients or for yourself, you can just do that inside Kirmada, but just have it focused on the subject of the workspace.
So let's talk brass, shall we? So
Oh,
it's a subscription based model, is that right?
it is. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
subscription model of £9.95 a month per seat. And discounts available for multi licenses at 5, 10, and 20 licenses, and you can also get discounts for subscribing quarterly or yearly as well.
So if you were an employed PA or EA and you're a small cluster of team, maybe 3 or 4 of you,
Yeah,
perhaps then you might have this. If you were a team manager, maybe you wanted to manage your team within that particular profile, then there might be, for example, in the legal sector, you might have 6 or 7 different segments. Then you could look after your team within that particular platform, for example. So again, you could look at different subscriptions for that. Or if you're a VA, you manage associates and you've got different people working on different clients for you, then you could manage them within this area as well.
yeah.
So and do you do a trial period at all?
So there's two things with that. Is, yeah, there is a freemium version where you can have up to 2 workspaces, which is a great thing if you're well, for anybody to try it. But also, if you're a full user and you wanted to invite other people to 2 teams, for example, to see how it works, it means that they don't have to pay for it. They can just join those 2 teams and you can work together. And then if and when they decide they needed more workspaces, they can then upgrade. But for people on this webinar, what you can do is download the freemium and then hit upgrade, and then use the coupon code PA forum, which I'll put in the chat in a second, all capitals, PA forum, and then you'll get 30 days to use the unlimited version absolutely free. And
Amazing.
you can invite as many people into your team to do the same. So, and I'd obviously encourage you to, because I want to get as many people seeing how great this is and want to use it full time.
Amazing. No, that's very kind of you. Thank you, Adam and Rick. I really appreciate that. Would be great to get your feedback, folks. We'd love to hear what you think and how you think you might be able to use Kirmada, if you can use Kirmada within your organizations. What I love about the fact that Adam, how many is there of you, Adam and Rick? There's like you quite a small team in terms of development. I mean that in the
Yeah,
most positive way, because it means that if people have got development things that they want to add in, they can just literally, you're on the end of the phone and you can talk to them directly about, things that they might like to add into the program in the future for any development that you've got next. Sorry if
yeah,
I'm talking out
absolutely.
of turn.
And we do that all the time. I mean, I was talking to a VA last week who was talking about a particular report that she wanted to see, and we designed it over the weekend, and we're going to make that live this week. So yeah,
Oh,
so we're listening to people all the time. What people need is really, getting their feedback and hearing their feature requests is really important to us.
and yeah, Tina, we're gonna share this recording on our YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to go back and watch this, if with Adam and Rick's permission, of course, then they can go and
Absolutely.
have a look at the demo. So we will do that. And then Kim, what support do you offer for setup? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Rick. Yeah. So what support do you offer for setup? Kim's put Adam.
Um, well, setting up is really easy, but more than happy to do onboarding calls with anyone.
Okay.
So we can set aside a 30-minute call where we go through setting it up in your particular environment. Absolutely happy to do that. The easiest way to do that is from our website, kirmada.com. There's a button at the top that says book a demo, but it can be book an onboarding for these purposes. And
Yeah.
that will go straight into my diary, and then we'll have a one-to-one. And you can do that anytime and do it more than once if you need to. If you need more time with me in the future, and then that's absolutely fine.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Adam. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Rick. I can see you've been really active in the chat box as well,
Yeah, thanks,
answering
Rick.
questions. So thanks, Rick. Yeah, thanks for giving us a demo today. It looks fantastic, and we'll pop this recording onto our YouTube channel. And if anyone would like an introduction to Adam or Rick, just drop me a little email, and I'll link you up. But thank you all so much for today. It's lovely to see you,
Yeah,
and
thank you,
we'll
everyone.
see you all soon. All right. Take care. Thanks a
Right.
lot.
Cheers,
Bye.
Daniel. Cheers, Mel.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hello.
Hello.
So what happened in the chat? Was that interesting stuff?
Yeah, well, not a lot, but a lot of positivity.
Cool.
Deborah Farmer said she loved it, but she said that very quickly. That's great. Yeah.
Tina Palmer. Did you say?
No, yes, sorry, Deborah Farmer.
Right. Yeah.
Joanne Rasmussen asked how different it was to OneNote. I think you kind of answered that. I mean, OneNote. OneNote has got a web version, so you can use OneNote with Kirmada if you wanted to.
Yeah.
What else?
I'm just looking through the chat. There wasn't an awful lot of questions.
No, a bit about security and LastPass. Yeah, the CRM stuff. Yeah, I think you answered that well, because it really depends on, using Kirmada as a CRM. We've talked about that, but that's not for marketing and newsletters and subscriptions really. It's more for you managing your clients or just having but yeah, it was good. Well done.
Cool. I've got to run off to a different meeting, so I'll catch up with you in a little while.
Okay.
Yep.
Cheers.
All right, mate. See ya.
Cheers.